Okay, so this is our last episode of Instagram for Normal People. And I'm super excited to have everyone here. Have you drop a 1 if you've been on this webinar before, and a 2 if this is like your very first time joining us. Okay, some new people. Awesome.
Nice.
So like half and half. So if this is your first time joining us, definitely welcome. I hope you join again. We do this every month, like once a month on the second Tuesday of the month. And the idea is we're just breaking down like simple tactics you can do to improve Instagram and ideally get you more business. That's kind of the focus on each show. So I try to get different guests on here, and then we just dive into a specific strategy that they're using. And then afterwards, like open it up for Q&A. And also it's a mastermind. So if you want to join in and you're like, hey, I've got something that's working, always join in, because we're trying to get more ideas from everyone in the group. But today I'm super excited. I've got Kyle Chang from Long Island and Queens area, New York. Kyle, do you want to tell them just a little bit about yourself? Like how long
Yeah,
you've been in
sure,
the business,
absolutely.
kind of.
Yeah, the whole rundown, sure. Make sure, and if everybody can hear me okay, just give me a thumbs up really quick. I'm Kyle Chang here in Long Island with the Real Long Island Group. Brand new to Real, essentially. Joined at the middle of May. I was with Remax for 5 years prior to that, 8 years total in the business. And fun fact about me is I hold a Bachelor's of Fine Arts degree from Hofstra University in Theater Arts Performance, which means that I went to school rolling around on the ground and learning clowning and etc. All these other little things about the human condition. And that's what I do with my theater degree. I sell real estate.
Okay. So the clowning did not work out, but you can use some of your elements because I see like humor in your real estate videos too.
Ton of it. No, yeah, absolutely.
All right. So I started following you, I think like a few years back. And it was funny because we
Yeah.
were like Instagram friends, like following each other mutually.
That's why you're my Instagram bestie.
Uh, and then we finally met in real life just recently at a conference like a few months back. But I wanted Kyle on here because there was like, I was used to seeing your content kind of here and there, and you were always like trying to put out content. But then you did something different to where I was like, wait a second, I need to see what is going on here. So I'm going to see if I can share my screen here. Can you guys see my screen okay? I'm going to maximize this. Thumbs up. All right, I couldn't see it. Oh my gosh, now let's not check my Gmail. Okay, hold on. Here we go. So I was used to seeing Kyle's content, and then all of a sudden he posted, I just noticed like your videos started changing, and I had to stop like scrolling one day, and I'm like, what the heck just happened to Kyle? Because it was like you completely started doing different types of stuff. So here's the one that made me like stop scrolling and just go, what the heck is he doing?
Focus. It's often something that is overlooked, but you're considering selling your home, you need an agent that is laser focused on getting you the photo of your home. DM me today with any and all of your real estate needs.
Okay, let me stop it there. So that was pretty cool. Those are CGI, or are you actually that good at ping pong?
I am that good at ping pong, but yes, that one was CGI.
I was like, okay, he cannot be that good to do that. But I loved, all of a sudden I was like, okay, who is this guy? Is he like turned into James Bond or something? And I noticed it even in because like your style of video, I was just like, what is going on here? And it actually made me stop scrolling because you started putting out a lot of content like that. And you also changed the logo. So you had like the little laser, like the bullet or the target there. And then even in your listing videos, I just felt like, okay, all of a sudden you're really leveling it up. Let me put this one.
Welcome to 9205 Whitney Avenue, right here in Palm Crest, Queens.
All right, I won't play the whole thing, but like that's even just a super slick, like awesome looking listing video. So kind of just tell
Cool.
us like what happened to you? Because all of a sudden, like I said, and not that your videos or anything were not great beforehand, but I know you kind of went through a rebranding. So I just wanted to see if you could talk more about that and kind of what the process was for you.
Yeah, 100%.
Did I-
Hang on, I guess my
There you
video.
are. I lost your video for a moment.
Sorry, one sec. There you go. All right.
There you go.
So the simplest answer is that kind of reel happened, right? I started just going through my Instagram and going through trying to find inspiration here and there, and I just kind of just saw a lot of the people that I already was trying to draw inspiration from were moving over to this company called Reel. I was like, oh, that's really interesting, you know? And it's not that I couldn't do the bigger and bolder choices at my other brokerage. I just didn't really feel like it suited me at that time. So then
And
yeah, go ahead, sorry.
you were also in a different position though, because you had said in your other brokerage, you were more of like the marketing person, right? Like not
Yeah.
really an agent, or you were an agent, but more like doing a different job as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah, exactly. So I mean, like, I think like most people, I started and invested heavily into my social media right at the beginning of the pandemic, as it became more an absolute necessity versus just, you know, something that was kind of fun and part of your business. So I focused a lot of my energy into social media there and growing the account and growing my influence there. But then, you know, it's a gift and a curse, right? I became very well versed in the world of social media and got super skilled that it caught the attention of, you know, the principal broker. And when I was kind of leaning towards moving to a different organization, they made me this offer of, you know, hey, why don't you take this director of marketing position? I even then turned it into kind of a brand strategist position to try to help other agents kind of discover their own personal brand and really help them get away from just relying on company names, logos, and to try to build their own identity. So I think that's something that a lot of realtors lack, and it's not really and it's not really that they don't know how to do it, it's just they don't know how to really advertise themselves in a market that's so saturated with real estate agents.
Yeah. And because there's people of all different brokers on here, so we're not promoting one brokerage. I want to make that
No,
clear too.
by no means.
Yeah. But what I liked about yours is like, I felt like all of a sudden it was just like a change where you were putting out content here and there, but now I see like you're putting out content everywhere. And I was just like, oh my gosh. Like I said, all of a sudden you're definitely doing more. It feels like more consistently and more, you know, and then with the logo and everything, you definitely are standing out as being different. I'm actually in the process myself because my husband and I have been a team now and we've jumped around we've been at 3 different brokerages, but I never actually invested in coming up with like a logo or brand or color scheme or anything like that. So I'm actually in the process of doing that right now.
Nice.
And we're kind of going through that with a lady who's a marketing specialist that I can drop her name in here too. She's an agent as well, but she does like just helping with social media branding. But it's like I'm realizing now the importance of having a logo and stuff, because even like color schemes, your company color scheme could change. They might rebrand or whatever. And so if you're always like dependent on another brokerage's, logo and branding, then you're always going to have to be that changing instead of finding something that truly is you. As far as like your style, like I said, you're kind of going with like the suits and the James Bond type of thing. That's what it reminds me of, or Mission Impossible, whatever, with the target. How did you come up, or what was your inspiration for doing that?
Yeah, sure. So I've always had this kind of moniker, Agent Kyle Chang, for a while, and I was just building on that since like 2020 when I created the Instagram for it. And I liked it just because of the amount of syllables in it. It really kind of just rolled off the tongue really nicely. And I think that was a good way to separate myself from other realtors when introducing myself. So like now, even when I go out in public, when I go to any realtor events, nobody calls me Kyle, nobody calls me Kyle Chang, everybody calls me Agent Kyle Chang. So I have fully solidified and embraced that identity. to the nth degree. So like, you know, that's one thing. And yeah, it just kind of led itself to being this kind of, not that I want to, because no one ever wants to be a secret agent, but I mean, James Bond is super cool, right? And has this very well-known brand of being, for lack of better term, sexy, for being, you know, exciting, right? And so if I can attach myself to that in any way, I think it works for me.
That's cool. As far as like finding a style, I had also worked at one point with an Instagram blogger, and her advice, this isn't really about finding a logo, but just like people are like, I don't know how to be on camera, or I don't really know what my style or video style is, because there's really no right or wrong. Everyone's like, just be yourself. But when I first started, I did not really get how I was almost like trying to be something different. I thought I had to be like super professional. It came across as actually kind of stuffy and boring. If you go back to like my original channel, because I didn't know, I was just like, okay, I'm a brand new agent, and everyone's like, just advertise yourself, let everyone know. So I was doing tons of like just listed, just sold, and I was doing market updates where I was trying to be like very prim and proper. And it wasn't really my real personality. And so I hired a blogger at some point that kind of looked at my account, and she's like, I don't get who you are. Like, what is your style? What is it that you like? Or who, you know, what's your personality? So one of the exercises that she gave me, and it sounds simple enough, but it was just like, come up with 5 adjectives of how you would love your ideal client to describe you. And I had to think about it for a while, because, you know, like I was just wanting people to think that I was successful and an expert so they would trust me. But she's like, how do you want them to actually describe Shannon or Tyler? And so it helped me realize like I was losing the part of my personality where it's like we're super down to earth, we love our clients, like we're easy to work with, and that was not coming across. I have a sense of humor and all those things. And so I think we're fun to work with. And so once I wrote down those adjectives, I could see like the disconnect, because my Instagram page was so, just like I said, too stuffy, too professional, too, you know, coming across as boring. And that was one of her comments. She was a good critic, but like I needed to hear it. The other thing she told me, she said, come up with 5 words of how you want someone to feel when they go to your Instagram page. And that was like a weird concept for me, because I'm like, how do you want them to feel? And she's like, yeah, like what kind of emotion are you wanting to evoke on your Instagram page? So for me, you know, it's like I want them to feel, you know, educated. I want them to be entertained. You know, I want them to trust me, be inspired by other people. So kind of, again, I had to like really think about that, but that helped me also to like realize, okay, I need to put in more humor. I need to do a lot more client stories and not like the just sold, just whatever. And that was just super powerful to come up with those questions and those answers. And if you've done like core values for your business, you know, anyone out there, like that can also be a good starting point. Not that every single video has to match all those words, but it's like a good parameter of like, okay, does this video align with these things? Like, is it showing my audience what what you want? So, has anyone gone through that process themselves of like trying to rebrand, or does anyone feel like they have got like a pretty slick brand out there for your Instagram? Y'all can also share. I don't want it to be like only me. I see Kristen Clowry on here. She was one of our guests before, but she has an um, amazing page where it's just, it's very humorous, and she does lots of like realtor type of jokes, but it's like, that is her real personality. If you've met her in real life, she's hilarious. All right. So going on, you after you rebranded, like I said, what have you been doing differently? Like since you're now focused as like your own solo agent, like what have you been doing differently as far as Instagram that's helping? Oh, and I see Rico.
Yeah, sure, absolutely. So one thing that I definitely do a lot differently is that when I'm setting up like the batch recordings and the video sessions, I sit down and have content strategy meetings with, if I'm doing it with my videographer team at the time, you know, we sit down for an hour and we go through every video that we're going to do. Every time I sit down with them, it's a minimum of 10 videos at a time. So we go through the beginning, middle, and end of every single one of those videos, just so that they have a clear idea of the message that I want to get across. And so they know how to light me, they know how to film me in a certain way. And then I just have the advantage really of coming from a theater background. I'm super comfortable on camera already. I did have to go through some coaching, and I did go through a coaching program to kind of re-engage that part of my brain that I had kind of shut off beforehand. And so I rehearse a lot of the videos. I do this method that's called 300% your energy for one of the takes that you do. So you literally do it at 300%, not necessarily volume, but it's energy. So you move, you find nuances in your voice, times where you can emphasize something that's a little bit different, and things that are going to definitely separate you from the crowd. It's when you kind of punctuate a little bit differently, and if you hit certain words, those are the things I've found work very, very well for me in terms of the creative process that I go through.
Cool. And as far as like you guys, I know you did hire a videographer to help, like obviously with the ping pong one, like your professional listing tours, but are you also just doing some stuff on your own as well? Like, or is everything professional?
No, I absolutely do everything on my own as well. Like you can't see it off camera right now. I have my phone on a tripod recording me so that I have B-roll for those other Instagram videos where, you know, I'm functioning on the framing of it though, right? So I'm back to one side of the camera and I have negative space on another side. So those are those videos that I'm going to have any kind of text or words right there that are going to hopefully stop the scroll of somebody when they're going through my page. And then everything else is one thing that, yeah, you got to really kind of think about your framing. You know, everybody knows to shoot vertically now, but maybe you don't realize that if you know, don't have too much head space above you, it just looks like you're in a gigantic room and people are kind of distracted by that. If you have too much net right in front of you, people are kind of noticing that and you look really far away from them versus being directly in front of them and having that kind of more intimate conversational tone to it and feeling to it. So
Yeah.
very big thing to, you know, that blogger that told you, how do you want people to feel when they either think about you or even visit your page? That's a big thing, right? Because we are not in front of people when we're doing this. But the whole idea is that when I speak to the camera, I'm speaking to one person, not speaking to 1,000. This is not a TED Talk, the videos that I'm doing, right? They have to be on this kind of a level where I am speaking to the exact avatar that I want to be speaking to at that moment.
Cool. Question is like, what kinds of things have gotten you the most engagement? I know you had mentioned your featured Friday tours, but if you
Yeah.
want to just share like what kind of what has been successful for you as far as like a type of video that's been working lately?
Sure, absolutely. So in terms of engagement, hands down is me interacting pop culture into a lot of the stuff that I do. Recently, I did a green screen video with the scene from Love Actually when Andrew Lincoln is holding cue cards for Keira Knightley. She opens the door and he's like holding these little things, telling how much he loves her. But I turned it into door knocking, where I'm holding up a sign that says it's your agent, Agent Kyle Chang. You know, maybe you thought about selling your home this year, stuff like that. And I also, it goes back and forth. So I use Keira Knightley's real reactions in the film, and it's as if she's reacting to my cards. So that's been a really popular one. I used a video where I get punched in the face because I I have a unique skill where certification from the American Society of Fight Directors, where I can
Okay, no one
create
else
staged
try
violence.
this.
Yeah,
I was like, nobody
unless
else tried to get in the face.
unless you have a certification or you've done some sort of work like that before. But yeah, the very beginning of the video and it recalls later on it is a buddy of mine coming over and punching me across the face because I say it's a video that I actually took from another agent where I go through 3 things that I am not, but the one thing that I am is your great real estate agent. So that one has gotten me a lot of engagement and interaction on as well.
So kind of the ones that bring in some humor is the pop culture. I know the break agent in our last episode was talking about that, like tying in some, stuff that's happening with movies and stuff.
Yeah.
You also mentioned you're doing like a live event every Friday with virtual property tours. You want to tell
Yep.
us like what that is?
Absolutely. So I had this idea of around the narrative that a lot of real estate agents are just saying there's not enough inventory. There's not enough inventory. And when I think about that as a buyer, all I hear is, well, there's really nothing for me to buy. So why should I even bother? So I didn't want to do that same kind of video because even though some people are making that video to try to tell sellers it's a great time to sell, on the other end, it's buyers just listening, oh, there's nothing out there. I might as well not even try. So what I'm doing is that I feature 3 properties in 3 areas that I exclusively work in, which is Nassau, Suffolk, and Queens County in Long Island. And I let them know these are just 3 properties that are on the market right now. The only reason I'm really talking about them is 1, I think they're cool. 2, they might be a great deal for you. Or 3, they each have some sort of feature that I think is really unique about it. So an example of it last week, it was super cold in New York. So I just went to my local MLS. I typed in the word fireplace. I found 3 listings that had fireplaces on it. And it just happened that those fireplaces looked kind of cool. I was like, all right, great. These are the homes that we're going to be talking about today, just strictly because they have fireplaces in them. Another one that I did, which is I can tie in some education to it. There was that announcement from Fannie Mae over November 18th that now you could put a minimum 5% down for a 2 to 4 family property, right? So that Friday, I only featured multifamily properties. I was like, listen, you could put a 5% down payment on this, live in one unit and actually rent out the other. You might actually be able to finally house hack here on Long Island, because that's something that hasn't really been a potential there because the potential rent coming in was never really matched to the higher price that you're paying on it. But now you only have to put 5% down, it's now a possibility, stuff like that.
Cool. And you're doing this as a live, right? Like you're
Yeah.
actually like filming yourself, but you're just like actually doing the search on the MLS and then getting people to chime in and talk about it. Have you had any success or engagement from that?
100%. So the best example of it is that at the gym that I go to every morning, what's nice is that it's a class-based gym. So I generally see the same people almost 5 to 6 days per week because we all go at the same time. Already I've sold a house to a couple there, but another person who I'm friendly with, but we don't converse that often, came up to me and said, hey, I saw that video you did last Friday. That house was super cute. I'm not sure if I'm ready yet, but I'm definitely starting the process of taking a look around. I was like, all right, cool. Absolutely. I'm glad you watched. I'm glad you took a look at it. Any other information you need, I'm always here. So that started a really positive conversation there. And that's probably been one of my best referral resources, that little gym class that I go to and see the same 25 to 30 people 5 to 6 days a week.
But you're also getting them to follow you is the key point as well.
Oh yeah,
At some point, you're also
100%.
like, I'm online and connect. So that's like a super important thing. I do that all the time. Anytime I meet a new client, a neighbor, or whatever, I'm like, hey, are you on Instagram? And try to get that connection there is huge, because then it's like, hey, I see you at the gym. I saw that video, and then they're more likely to talk to you if they see you in person.
That's right.
I like the idea of the feature Friday too, because it's so simple. I mean, the cool thing is like these are not his listings necessarily, and he's not doing like pretending they're his or whatever. He's not like stealing the photos and reposting. All he's doing is just recording like, hey, I'm going to show you 3 things you can find with, and I like the idea that it's a theme.
Yeah.
Is anyone else doing like live videos? Is anyone trying that like consistently going live? Okay, Tony, do you want to share like what you're doing?
Yeah, can you hear me?
You're good.
Oh,
Yes.
thanks you. Yeah, I see my Facebook memories will pop up stuff from like 5, 6 years ago when I did live, and I'll tell you, you know, boy, did I miss the boat. I should have been doing 10,000 of them, but now it's like I'm just another guy doing a live video. And for anybody out there who's never done it or not sure, think of a lot. And again, I'm not someone special. I'm just a guy with ideas. If you do live and you're not sure, when you hold open houses or talk to people at the gym like Kyle does, that's also live. Like you talk to your children, you talk to the strangers, that's live, but somehow pulling up your phone, people feel uncomfortable. Well, here's the beauty of live, in case some of you don't know, is well, normally you don't edit them. You shoot you live, you make a mistake or you say something wrong, go, oh, I'm sorry, it's not 3,000 square feet, it's 2,400 square feet on the MLS. That's so natural and normal, and people are more likely to be endeared to you as opposed to a polished video. Like who said, was it Shannon or somebody said that sometimes we feel like it's polished and we're too proper, and live can really, really help connect you with people because they hear you, they see you, they feel like they're there. And the only cautionary note I would add, because this could be a 9-hour conversation, is if you're going to go live, you really have to get to that house several days beforehand, let yourself in and walk around and check your signal strength and hope to God they have Wi-Fi and you can get access. Because when I take a, yeah, you know, right? And again, I tell all my agents when we do broker previews, some different places, I say, guys, we're all competitive, but we can cooperate. And if I'm going to guest host your open house, when you get a listing, could you tell your seller, oh, one more thing, we want to keep your Wi-Fi on even though you're not living there, because when I and other agents promote your house to try to get more buyers interested, having that Wi-Fi is a huge benefit for $50 a month. So if you don't have that conversation and you just got to just go with what you got, check the live stream, check your phone strength. You can go onto Facebook and private your recording so only you see it. And you could do that quick walkthrough for say 3 or 4 minutes, stop, let it upload and check it, because it might look great on your phone at the moment, but the playback could be something like that, right? So you have a chance to check that out. So that little 5-minute preparation 5 days before, check. And again, if you have access to the Wi-Fi, it usually goes through the whole house. So you look like a total champ. And if you want to go to an open house, if Kyle has an open house and I was out in Long Island, because I'm from Jersey back in the day, I'd say, hey, Kyle, you got Wi-Fi? Yeah. Great. I want to do live. I want to talk about you and your listing. Can I connect with a password? And you just have a nice conversation like we're doing right now. And all of you speak so nicely and friendly. But if you start to stammer or choke on live, then you really got to get out of your own way, because live is the #1 desirable thing on any social media. Live will push you to the front of so many people. Second is your saved live recording. Third is your regular recording. And fourth place is text or pictures. So live is like slapping your competition out of the way and going to the front of the line in most cases on everyone's social media. So there's a ton of attractive value. So practice by yourself at home. Just get over it, be a good person and have fun with it. And know that any mistakes you make, you can correct in real time, just like when you're at an open house. So I hope that gives you, some of you, like a realization of it's powerful and it isn't scary, because I could talk to people in Starbucks all day. And when I get my phone out, I'm just doing the same thing. Again, and it helps if you have somebody else hold your phone. That's really cool, because then you look like Kyle, and some of the ones I did is so nice when someone can hold a phone. You can go like this and talk like you're on HGTV. But when you do it yourself, perfectly fine. A little shake and shimmy on it. People know what's up. I know I do. Ever see the news? Ever see the news guys goes live and there's a little shake? Who cares, right? Anyway, that's my 2 cents.
I'm gonna share my worst live experience. This was like before I was doing the program. I was doing like a Facebook Live thing at an open house. It was kind of slow. So I was like, I'm going to go live. And I did this thing and I'm like into the video and whatever. And then someone actually walked in and I didn't realize it. So halfway through, I turn around, I'm like, oh, because there's like this couple there, dropping my phone. I picked it up and then I was just like, oh, I'm sorry, shooting a video. It was still rolling like the whole time. So then I'm like walking around. So yeah, I did not repost that one. I was just like, delete. But yeah, so yeah, I definitely need to do more lives occasionally. Someone asked, Kyle, do you always do your live video at the same time every Friday? Because I know you're calling them featured Fridays.
I try my hardest. And then I also alert the audience that I'm going live at a certain time. So I'll post to Facebook, hey, going live at this time for featured Friday. Everybody pay attention. And then
go ahead. I also saw you label like you title them, because it'll also, and sometimes it'll just say like, Shannon's going live, but I
Sure.
also know there's a way you can title your live,
Yeah,
so it's like
100%.
Kyle is talking about this title.
So it's actually cool. Facebook
That as
now
well.
requires you to put a description or at least a little title on whatever you're doing. And so, and then Instagram also has that option. So when you look at the live on your Instagram page, there is little 3 lines to the right-hand side where all of the other little like apps and stickers are for the Instagram screen. You click there and you can write the details of what your live is going to be. And then on Facebook, the same idea. What I like is I started using StreamYard, which is a completely free streaming program. If you pay for it, I think you can keep the recordings. However, I mean, I just want mine to live on Facebook and live on Instagram versus living on my phone. So I just use the free one.
Cool. So that's Hits Featured Friday. That's raise like put a drop or like a number in the chat or thumbs up. I don't know what you can either do thumbs up or a thumbs up in the chat if you would try something like that. Just showing 3 properties in your area does not have to be
Oh,
your
wow.
doesn't even have to be your own. I don't know what just happened to my background, but that
Yeah.
was kind of cool.
So that's the cool thing too. Like after Rise, I was on a little bit of like a real like kind of high. So I reached out to 3 people that I met at Rise. I was like, hey, I do this thing on Fridays. Would it be all right if I featured a property in your neighborhood? They're like, yeah, 100%, or one of their listings. So that was one thing
I
that I
love
could
it.
do there too.
Hey, Shannon, can I share one power tip for people that are thinking about going live? This, if you don't know about this and then do it, oh my God. I put the link in there. If you guys were to use StreamYard for streaming, you can have, if you find either a lender or a friend or someone to go to that house, ideally with Wi-Fi, if you can, and have an iPad as like your master control, like the person can be logged in the StreamYard, and then you can connect, let's say if Shannon, Kyle, and Jimmy, the 3 of you are going to get together and go in this $40 million house, and I was going to be there producing it. I would have my iPad logged in, and I would send the link to each of your phones you click on. So each of your phone cameras are now working, and I can click to each different person who talks or reveal and remove titles and animations. So you could be a 1-person producer. Each of you can have your phone in different rooms. And you literally, as a producer, it's like Kyle's talking right now. He talks about the bedroom, blah, 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 blah. And then I click to Shannon and she sees that she's up and she goes, hey, look at this parking garage with all the Ferraris. So you could do it as simple or as amazing as you want. So if you were to go to a StreamYard and log in, all it takes is 1 person with a paid account to link in however many agents, even if it's just 1. And you can pull up the graphics or an overlay or a video and you look like a total pro. It could be as simple as a phone and your phone, but when it's an iPad, it's really nice to do. So if you're not sure about this, take a look at StreamYard. I get nothing out of this. If you go into StreamYard and even do a free account and just test it at home with your phone and your iPad, you will see in 2 minutes, oh my God, talk about jumping to a high level, and there's no instructions. Everything's really obvious. So that's something I'm going to get aggressive on for myself for 2024 ASAP, is to find someone that can hold my iPad and just simply touch and click. So I kind of look more like a little more different, a little more value, maybe entertainment. So that's just something I wanted to share, guys. You don't have to do it, but it really is easy. And I'm at fault for not doing it a lot myself, but I'm going to start doing it now.
Cool. No, thanks for sharing that. So going along with the property tours, I'm going to share another thing I've been doing. It's not exactly going live, but it's something I've been doing in my stories that is really helpful for me. And I'm getting like tons and tons of conversations out of this. So I'm just going to share my screen really quickly, and go back into here. I'm going to see if I can blow this up a little bit. Okay. Okay. See if I can blow it up full screen. Are y'all seeing that okay? We are out on the road today. For the last 2 days, we've done 2 full days of house hunting tours up in North Austin. So this is day 3. Tyler's in the driver's seat. And we are hoping to get our clients under contract today. That was their mission. They flew in from Seattle
And their goal was to come here and by day 3, write an offer on a home that they love. So we've narrowed it down. They've got a few choices that are kind of up in the forefront as winners. And we're just going to kind of review it and see which ones they go for. I think I know which one they're going to go for, but we'll have to see how it plays out.
Okay, so what I'm doing here, this is my husband and I are actually out touring homes, and I have a little just a suction cup thing I ordered on Amazon that I can use just even if I'm by myself. I love it when my husband's driving because it frees me up to do a lot more. I can be posting while we're actually at the stop sign and stuff. But I've also done this by myself. You know, if I get to a listing a little bit early, just I have my little suction cup holder there on the dashboard, and I'm just like, hey, I'm gonna get ready to show, you know, condos. I did one recently. I'm showing a new buyer. She's a single female moving here. She wants something like kind of cool next to downtown, and we're gonna be looking at condos today. And people love it. So what I do then is the next on the next slide, let me see.
We
if I
are
can
out on the
move forward. So this is kind of like a progression of this is just like one example. And I don't even have all the stories in here, but that was my intro, was like, hey, we're going to go out and look at these homes. And this was true. Like we had narrowed it down to like 3 that we were just reviewing that were like their top picks, and they were all wanted to just check them again and pick one. So I just gave them like a fun name, and all I did was snap a photo in the front yard. I'm not, some people are like, are you violating MLS rules or whatever? I'm not like just telling you can always check with your broker and your office on what the rules are, but I'm like, I am not putting the addresses. I'm not claiming these are my listings or whatever. I'm just like, okay, here's like the number 1 house, the second one, the whatever. And I just gave them names. This is like the Castle House. This is the resale that had the big oaks. This is the new construction one with the green belt. And the next one is I had people vote. And so you can see like most people were voting 48% the new build and whatever. But I had like over 40 something different people that voted on this. And so what's awesome is that I like a few hours passed by because we actually went to lunch. They, you know, like they were trying to figure it out. So I had people all of a sudden start messaging me on Instagram like, hey, what did they pick? Like hours later. And I was like, hey, they narrowed it down, but I'm gonna tell you once we, you know, like really officially decide something. And so people again, oh, I can't wait. Like, what did they pick? I would have picked this one. So just like the audience who was watching it in my stories was so highly engaged. It was like really unreal. So like towards the end of the afternoon, I posted the home that they picked was the new build, and we actually got the offer like submitted on it and stuff. So I put some photos of that. And then the next question I posted was how much of a discount did they get off the original price? So tons of people voting on this, you know, like 68,000, 93,000, 127, 146. Most people were voting down lower. And we actually, this one was discounted. We got it 146,000 off the original price. Like it had been marked down. We got another bonus, which is telling people also about the Austin market without really saying like, hey, Austin has like gotten major price cuts and tons of inventory. And so, you know, again, I had like 40, 50 people voting there. And then at the end, I also asked, I showed a beautiful picture of the backyard and I said, do you want to know what neighborhood is this? Yes or no? This is just a screenshot. It's just 14, but I ended up with like 18 people that reached out. They were like, I want to know what neighborhood this is in. So the power of this is not just that people voted, but the most important step is I click on like, okay, who voted the new build 48%, and I'm going to message those people and say, hey, they agreed, they want new construction too. Have you actually thought about building new? So I'm going to reply back to the people that voted. And that's where like the magic happens for me, is because I get most interaction in story stickers more than just a post. And I may take some of these clips and like actually make like a little vlog, like I do a video and I could do a voiceover, like, yeah, we went out and showed property and blah, blah, blah. And our clients love this one. I could still repurpose some of this stuff and like put it as as an actual reel. But more of, I get like most business and conversations in the stories. So that's like my tip, is just, if you are out showing property, or honestly, like even if you have no clients, I'm like, just tour property. That was what I used to do when I was like a newer agent. And I'm like, I don't even know, like I don't even have any business. Just go tour houses. Like I use new construction a lot. The builders don't care, but it's like I'm out here at such and such neighborhood and the builders are doing this big blowout special. Here's 3 floor plans. Which floor plan would you pick? Or like, here's, or like my clients are wanting a home with a beautiful view. So I'm going to show you 3 amazing backyards. And it's just like, I mean, it could be a photo. It could just be a snapshot of like, the one with the pool, the one with the canyon view, the one with this, and, just let people like, what would you pick? And just kind of make it like an interactive game. And that has been like probably the biggest thing that has helped me get like the number one, like the most engagement. And literally, if you are going back and messaging all the people, like I easily can get 50 to 60 conversations just with all the different people that are voting on that. So that's my
Shannon, real quick.
suggestion as well. Yeah.
So awesome. And so one strategy that I have been meeting to implement, but definitely going to now because of that, is that if you search your MLS and you are also like the Sentry key or the lockbox kind of part of the MLS too, you can screen out the MLS to see vacant properties in the neighborhoods that you work in. So I'm actually going to preview 5 properties per week and post to my stories. One, it's the perception that I'm crazy busy, that I'm out there showing property all the time. And it will give me more interesting things because I do polls all the time, but I guess it's polls that people don't want to answer because I don't get any answers like that. So I need to start doing on more interesting things, which is like, hey, do you like this kitchen? Yes or no? Stuff like that.
Even just the little sliders, like, and I don't do only stories on real estate. Like sometimes I just got a cat recently, if you've been watching my stories. So we have like a new pet and it's like, are you a cat person, dog person? And it's just, and like I'll do pictures of my dogs, like they're begging for food. And it's like, should I give them a scrap or should I make them eat kibbles? Sometimes you can do a lot of like pet stuff, but I will get tons of voting and whatever. And then sometimes like I don't have time to reply to every single person. So prioritize people that are non-realtors first. So if you see anyone that's like a neighbor, gym member, whatever, they post something about, I'm a dog person. Oh, cool. What kind of dogs do you have? Just ask a question. And again, they start thinking of you as like more like a friend. You start popping up because they're interacting with you. Your stories and feed will pop up more because you're now like interacting with them more. And then I also prioritize like agents that are in other states or cities that move here because a lot of the business I'm getting is referrals from other agents. We picked up 2 this week. And some of them are commenting on the stories. They're like, well, we see you're always busy with clients, or we see like you really are involved with your clients and stuff. So that's like my big thing is just, if you're not busy, make yourself look busy. And if you don't have clients, just touring properties is like the best way to get clients. And then just try to capture little bits of behind the scenes, because it just gives people insight on how you work with people. And then I think it's also kind of inspiring to them. Like you were saying, there's no inventory. We have a lot of inventory here, but the more you can show like there are people out there looking, I think is a good message to people too.
Yeah, 100%.
I had someone else shared, Jimmy, you were saying you were having success doing property tours. Do you want to share like what's working or how you're kind of getting engagement if you're doing anything?
Yeah, sure. I've had really good success doing property tours on Instagram. I started doing them early summer, and back in early summer, I had 1,000 followers, and I'm about to cross 10,000.
Oh, that's
So
amazing.
it's grown tremendously, and tons of views. I've got several videos that have 100,000, 200,000, 400,000 views on them. And those have resulted in lots of DMs. So I'm starting a lot of conversations and converting, and it's been working out really, really well.
And I see you dropped your Instagram handle in there, so I'm definitely gonna start looking at what you're doing too. He's at Tahoe Lifestyle Group. That's super awesome. I'm still like slowly trying to get to 10,000. I'm like right almost at 9 right now. So to grow that fast in that short of time is awesome. You're doing something super well.
That's
Yeah,
awesome.
I just do the videos just like it was after
Wow.
a real estate video blueprint that Tyler kind of showed how to do them. And so I just do it with my iPhone and a gimbal. It's one clip all the way through the property, so it's very raw and it's edited well with a lot of speed ramps in it. And but you get to see the entire property going through it really well. And it looks unique, so I just get a lot of engagement from it. And then I
That's
throw in
cool.
a couple little like hyper local things usually at the beginning of it, and people seem to like that quite a bit.
I was trying to pull yours up and I completely screwed up something with my share screen. So, but anyhow, definitely go follow him. I'm looking at your page right now. That is awesome. I love that.
Maybe
I
you
know a
need
lot
to
of
do
people.
a Zoom for normal people, Shannon.
I know I need so much help. I'm really not the techie person here. That's super cool. Anyone else have strategies for property tours? Like the whole point of any kind of video is, like I said, having conversations. If you're just getting likes and stuff, that's not always not the goal. But it's like, how are you talking to people on anything you do in social? Does anyone else have like any other strategies, anything that's working well for you?
Here's a quick idea that I'm going to start pulling off. One of my kids actually told me this. They said, if you're telling people what they already know, there's nothing special. And I remembered a conversation I had with somebody. They said, for anyone to do anything, if you have something insightful, like i.e., if Google doesn't know. So if let's say if Jimmy has a property coming up and it has a big pool, and I say, Jimmy, is there anything special about this house people won't see on Zillow or something? They go, oh, yeah, actually, this pool has a 12-foot section, which is grandfathered in 12 foot deep, and everybody else can't do more than 6. Ooh. So, hey, everyone, Tony Barbarino. I'm going to show a house this Thursday with Jim at 123 Main Street. There's something special about the pool. You're really going to want to know that nobody else has. Tune in. So, excuse me. Finding something insightful, something that people would go, oh, contrastable. It could be, oh, by the way, Brad Pitt grew up in this house. I checked the MLS records. I'll see you at this house on Sunday at 2 p.m. live. Something, something besides 4 bed, 4 bath. Oh, it's on a cul-de-sac. Well, if it's on a cul-de-sac, is there something? Well, yeah, there's a forest in the backyard, and sometimes deer come up. We're going to hopefully see some this Saturday. So, in terms of the houses you tour, especially with other agents, it really shows thoughtfulness if you could find something, one thing that people probably will not know, but you bring it to light. So if somebody has an open house, you're doing the other agent a solid, and then you reverse the roles. Find out with your listing, is there something, even if the tiles were imported from a home in 1905 in Naples, Italy, and the seller had brought this over 10 years ago. So this isn't just tile, this is handmade, hand-laid tile from 1905. Something special, but of course, make sure it's true. So that's an idea.
Yeah, don't lie on your stuff. But I love the idea because that's like adding a hook. You know, you always want like the catchy email title or the catchy little hook that's going to make someone watch it. So that's a good tip as well. Does anyone have questions that I can also just like throw out questions for the last half? If you have questions for Kyle or for
I'll
anything
address
today.
something that Lars wrote here in the chat. Lars, it says here that you have a property that needs a lot of TLC and you're afraid to make a video of it. Well, so my real question would be, what are you actually afraid of, right? You're not going to attract possibly an end user to that property. Maybe you're going to attract investors to it, right? So you just do a simple walkthrough of that and you send that to every single investor that you know of, or any agents that are actively working with investors. So as you show them the exact walkthrough, the other idea is the complete opposite of it. Something that I immediately thought of when I think of TLC. Does anybody know that show Project Runway with like Tim
Yeah.
Gunn, right? I would either act like that person and walk around the house being like, no, this needs to get fixed. No, actually totally awful. Oh, love that. Something like that to kind of give a little fun entertainment to it. Something similar to like what Chris Benjamin does with his videos. He just exudes a lot of excitement. Doesn't matter what the house looks like, right? So you put a kind of polarizing character within the house itself, and you're able to show it without anyone really, they're not, maybe not paying full attention to the house, but they're aware of it. So that's one thing you want to do, because you want to bring awareness to every single property.
And I would also aim, like, it may not be your typical buyer, you know, like most of the properties I sell are gonna be kind of higher end, like homes that are a little like nicer, decorated at Pottery Barn and stuff. Those are the ones I love to show, but occasionally I will get one. I have one now that's like, hasn't had the carpet fixed in 30 years and whatever.
Yeah.
I'm still going to do a video of it about this is an awesome investment opportunity. You could spend, I even have quotes on carpet, you know, some of those things, like if you invested this, you could get this much, it would be a great rental. Here's, you know, so you can still talk about it, but with the mindset of my client as an investor, not like, isn't this beautiful to move into? It's not move-in ready. Like it needs some help, and it's kind of an estate sale. But I'm not gonna not do a video about it. It's just, it's definitely not, you know, the one where I'm like, oh, how beautiful, let me showcase the pictures, but I'm still gonna do a tour of just like you said, the potential and like what can be done with it.
Thank you.
So,
Yeah, of course.
yeah, someone else said, Jimmy said, talk about the potential of it. All right, anything, so we can kind of wrap up. We're getting close to the end, but if anyone like in the chat, you can drop in like a takeaway, something you're inspired to do after today's meeting or whatever. If you can just drop that in there, that is super helpful for me. And then also I'm planning out webinars for the next year. We only have 12, which is because it's only once a month. But if there's like topics that you're like wish would be covered, I would love to know that too, because I'm trying to line up guest speakers and like just getting, again, good strategies for the new year. So you can share that in there, like what's your takeaway for today, and then you know, if you have like a future topic you'd love to hear, that'd be super helpful if you want to drop that in the chat. I'm going to attempt to go live without dropping my phone like I did. Go early to the open house and show it instead of during it.
I had the
Please-
exact
please-
same experience on that. Where
Please
the
invest in a
owner-
wireless mic.
Yeah.
But yeah, Kyle, you've done some good video too. You probably back up on this. Investing in a wireless mic or a lapel mic, something, because man, if people really can't hear you, especially when you're navigating on live, get a wireless mic, whether it's the most cheapest Rode Wireless Go or Wireless Go 2 or something, but whatever little wireless mic system that you can just clip on, it's so what, it's sitting there, people don't care. If they can really hear you, especially when you put the phone down or someone's holding it and you're across the room, they need to hear you. Believe me, because if it sounds like you're 400 miles away or they're not audible, they're going to click off really fast. I know all of you do, because I do. If I'm watching a video and I'm like, what? I don't even bother. But if I can hear it clearly, but the quality video is okay, I'll stick around. We all would. So definitely, you know, whatever you got to do, you don't even have to have real money, dude. You got to buy one wireless mic that works, clear, or pretty darn good consistent audio is your best friend. And all you got to do is turn it on, maybe learn a little bit about the settings, and you're good to go. So sound is super, it's at least 51% of the quality of your video.
That's definitely true. I do have one. I need to get better at packing it and charging it. So that's my problem. I'm like, I have this little $100 thing that just snaps on, and then it's like all of a sudden I'm out. I'm like, oh, I just changed purses. It's in the wrong bag. I just need to get organized in 2024. That's my problem.
Yeah, check it every night. Whenever I know I'm going to shoot, the night before I plug everything in. I'm always paranoid about that. So great point, Shannon. Night before, it's like 9 o'clock at night. I said, wait a minute. Let me get the wireless mics on my phone. I'm going to plug things in. I actually, like at my desk right here, you can't see. I actually look at it and go, my wireless system is all charging. So I can go to bed and not go, wait, did I plug that in? So I need to know, so when I wake up, it's more than ready, because I had that happen once, and it's such a sinking feeling to go, oh no, and you thought it was working. So great point. The dumbest thing you do is not charge things, and it's so easy. So I'm always paranoid about that. In a healthy way.
All right. Okay, well, thank you guys for coming. I'm happy like a lot of people are getting good ideas out of here. Someone suggested home buyer seminars. I'm gonna try to get her as a guest on here. Marie from her Instagram handle has moved me to Tennessee, but I know she does a lot of stuff for first time buyers and has been successful with those. So I love that topic of how to promote and advertise like a home buyer seminar and see what she does with that. Because her Instagram is phenomenal for first time buyers. So check out at Move Me to Tennessee for whoever dropped that question in there. I will send a replay out this as well. And if y'all have other suggestions on my newsletter, just reply back. And again, I'm looking for people to join in on some of these webinars. You don't have to be like where you've mastered everything on Instagram, but if you're like, hey, I have something I want to share that could help other people, tell me too, because I'm also looking for people to join in as guests, and I like getting fresh faces on here. So enjoy the rest of your new year, and let's kick 2024 off to a good start next year. Bye, guys.
Kick 2023 in the ass. Let's go 24. Woo!
Slap.
Wow.
Thanks,
All right.
everyone.
Bye,
Take care.
Thank you.